Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, an exciting product that came from Furrtek around 7 years ago, I think now. This I received before I lost my job back in 2019, before COVID. I'm sure it was before that time. And I lost some footage of the original unpackaging of this. Originally it had a nice black piece of heat shrink tubing that had been shrunk snugly around there, where you see this red insulation tape, and it had these two pieces of black insulation tape here to protect the two, what I believe are ICs. Anyway, I had to peel this off in order to diagnose a problem with my MVS, and it took a lot of messing around. I'll cover that in a minute, but anyway, as you can see, it's got a little switch on there, AB, to switch between two different banks. It's marks there, Batteryless 32K memory card, and it's got a little LED there that says power save. And you've got space on the back here to write whatever's on bank A, or stick a label on bank B. So the idea being you've got two different banks, two different memory cards effectively in one card. And of course, the problem with the original memory cards, they had a little button cell, and it was actually embedded within the thing. It's like a big plastic shell that sort of came out just a bit beyond the size of the connection there. And the battery would be inside it. Some of them you could replace, some of them you couldn't, but they leaked and sometimes corroded and sometimes caused a fault inside, etc. And they're very expensive and hard to find. So what Furrtek's done with it, and of course when the battery goes flat, you lose your saves. So what Furrtek's done here is use one of those 62256 chips or something similar that is, what's the word? It's solid state, isn't it? You don't need a battery. I forget the name of it now. I'll stick it top left. It's not SRAM, it's something else RAM. The write enable somehow enables like some sort of magnetic flux or field thing that allows you to read and write into the RAM and permanently sort of store it without a battery. So yeah, just a short look at this on my AES. I don't think he makes these anymore, but it's interesting to look at anyway. And following on from this, we'll be looking at another product from Furrtek that he is, at the moment, still manufacturing. And we'll have a look at this under the microscope as well. It's a Neo-GRC that has been decapped. He kindly sent this to me, so it's got no bond wires on it or anything. It's just the actual silicon from inside. That is so cool. That's going to be really good to look at now on the microscope that came from Cavanos, using the Furrtek's arm there. Back when I received this, and I think I showed it on one of the other videos, we couldn't really see it clearly because I didn't have a microscope. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to look at. So I'll plug it into my AES here. Obviously the flap is a bit springy there, you can see, it sprung there. It's a bit scratched, this AES, but it's my AES. Hang on, is that in? What's going on here? Okay. Can't seem to get that to go into position now. Let's just pull it out. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's not the easiest thing to get in and out. There we go, I think that's it. Oh, I think that's it. I'm sure I've just bent some pins there, Let's just try that again. It went in really easily the first time. Not so much the second. Let's just try that. Yeah, that's not on now. I think I may have just broke a pin off it. Well, that's not a good start. I have bent a pin. Yeah, I've used this before and not had a problem, if I'm honest. This is not like me first showing you this. Hang on. I'm not even sure if you can see there on the right hand side. I'm not even sure if I can get the light at the right angle here, but on the right hand side there, yeah, one of the pins is bent over. So yeah, I think that's going to need a new port now. Oh, blooming heck. Right, so I'll take my AES to pieces. So I pulled the 3 or so rubber feet off the underside, got the 4 screws out the underside. One of them is still, there it is, still there, get rid of that. So you can see I now need to remove this. This is an early rev AES, so it's got this sub board, but also it's got the Pro chipset there. You know what, I'm not even taking any risks with this strap on, just in case I accidentally touch something here. I just hope that pin doesn't break off. I suspect it's totally flat now, and I suspect it's going to break off. I'm not even sure I can get to it. This is the blooming problem, because you know there's this plastic hood here. Even if you unscrew this, this is still all part of the same thing. So what you've got to try and do is maybe pull that out, and then yeah, you might be able to see down there. I don't really know what's going on with that. Don't know how I'm going to fix that. I'll go and get a magnifier and see if I can work out what's going on with it. Right, so the memory card slot is working again. See that at the end? That's the end of the pin. The pin broke off. It's got nothing to do with this. Actually, when I repaired this, I'm not sure I mentioned it, but I think when I came to test that, one of the pins had been bent previously by somebody else. So I straightened it out. Obviously, it wasn't perfectly straight, and if you're not careful inserting and removing one of these, and a minute ago, when I did the damage there, I think I just got it mislined and pushed too hard, and it just broke that pin off. So yeah, but it's only broken halfway. So what that means is you wouldn't want to hot swap it because it's probably the ground. So yeah, I could just swap the slots out. Yeah, the camcorder cut me off there, showing you on this compact flash adapter here, if I can try and hold that in focus. I can give you an example. In fact, I'll flip it around the right way here, and I'll show you a screenshot in a minute which pin it was. It was on the right hand side like this, but I think it was the top pin. Can you see this is longer? Yeah, this is longer than these ones. Yeah, exactly the same in the AES card slot, but I think it was this top right pin here. As we look at the image I'll show you here, just overlay on the screen, you can see it's the right hand side, and I think it was that top right pin. In this case here on compact flash, it's the bottom right pin, and the reason you have an extended length pin like that typically is for ground, because you always want your ground to be connected before anything else when you're hot swapping things. So any slot that's designed for hot swapping, stick your save card in, the ground makes the connection first, you've got a good ground, and then everything else connects. And it's critical you get that ground. It looks awful, this, doesn't it? Oh, look at that there, it's terrible. Corrosion or something. I'll clean this with some IPA while I'm here, I think, or some contact cleaner. That's bent, look. Oh my goodness, it's only a matter of time before that breaks. And that's an extended one there, I think. Yeah, the ground in the middle probably on this one. That was the issue. It was the top pin here, that was the extended one, and it was bent over and folded down to the pin below, and that's why the card wouldn't go in. It was restricted by the blockage here, and as soon as I straightened that up, that pin had been previously straightened before, ping, it snapped off at the point where it had folded. So it was like shorter than these ones here. Yeah, so still there's still a pin, but it was like 3/4 the length it should be to at least make a connection. And yeah, as you'll see, it does actually work. But if anybody's got any ideas on what to replace that AES slot with, please let me know. Trying to replace the individual pin, sometimes you can do that on certain connectors. On that one on the AES, absolute nightmare. I'd probably need to desolder the whole thing, maybe destroy the plastic and stuff to try and replace the pin. I don't think I'm reaching the bottom. That's the bleeding problem. Yeah, I didn't think this through, did I? How would you think I get the footage from the camera that we're filming this on now into the PC? Yep, we use this, and I'm now messing around with it. Bending pins, straightening pins, cleaning it with ultrasonic. It's looking a lot cleaner in there, I think. It's still dirty though, and there's obviously IPA inside the flipping thing. You can see that here. Look at its base. It's like it's coming up to the right and straight up instead of straight up. Look at it in comparison with this one here. It is quite far out, that. I'm amazed that this thing's ever worked, to be honest. But I do remember when I first got it, this is what happened. One of the pins got bent, and it was a real mare to try and deal with it. Anyway, just sort of go along like that. I can see the odd fibre still. That's a bit better. Anyway, the LED is now lighting, so I know that's powered. Switch it off. Now I'll switch it on. I'm using the 161-in-1 here at the moment. So what we need to do here is select a game first. So we'll do Metal Slug 3 because that's on this card. And that was from when I tested the memory cards there on an MV4 in a previous video. And what we'll do here is wait for the game to start. Like that. Soft reboot it, and then hold down A, B, C and D. Like that, and then we get the memory card manager. And if we do display stored data, there you go. Bust move, so I've got Puzzle Bobble on there. And Metal Slug V3. Now, it's the version that's on the 161-in-1, so I suspect that load will work. If we just skip this, let's just exit. It's got Metal Slug 3 selected at the moment on the 161-in-1. It's a bit quiet, that, isn't it? Let me just turn up the volume a wee bit. And if I hit start here, I'm assuming we get a continue at some point, maybe. No, we haven't done.
Mission 1, start.
Maybe it is a different version of Metal Slug 3. Because we know the save is there. It's just strange. Because it could be that the version of the 161-in-1 doesn't allow continues. Unless there was an option here. It's not there, is it? No, that's the controls. Let's try Puzzle Bobble instead. And again, I'm not sure it was the version from this car. I think I used the original Puzzle Bobble actually, so I'm not sure. Let's just see. So, hit start. Ah, there we go. Card load. Yes. I think it's only round 2. Yeah, it says down the bottom round 2. So that is working fine. And obviously you know this card works with saves because it's got these saves on it. You know, this is not my first time using it. I'm just really annoyed with myself for not being a bit more patient pushing it in then. You know, it felt like it was going in but got stuck and just pushed that little bit extra hard and that was it. Broke the pin off. So, you've been warned. But that's nothing to do with this device, it's just that slot in general. Because it had been damaged previously. So I just finished the first round there of Metal Slug 3. Because I'm assuming there's no save. Let's just see, is it going to give us an option to save there? Or is it when you die? I honestly can't remember how the save works. Yeah, I think it's when you die, isn't it? So I'll just keep playing. Right, didn't use all my credits up, I just let it die there. There we go, there's save. Yes. Save OK. And strangely enough, I'm first on the high score table there. Right, let's power cycle it and load the same game. And just check if the save works. There's 2 banks on this cart as well, I've not talked about that. Well, I've talked about it, but I've not shown it. Get A and B, we can switch that over in a minute. To a second lot of saves effectively. So Metal Slug 3. Yeah, actually when I played this before, maybe I didn't get past the first level. Yeah, data load look. So I selected level 1 there, but I could have selected level 2. So yeah, that works fine. And of course if we switch it off and we switch the AB, if I can. That's really small switch that, isn't it? But obviously it's designed to not get knocked there. That'll be next thing, I'll break that off next. I'm so clumsy. Right, let's oh hang on a minute, an error. That's really weird, isn't it? Let's just use A resume and then we'll reboot it. Maybe it's because that card needs 4 mine, or that bank of it. Do soft reboot, hold down ABCD. Yeah, I can't get in there. Can get in there, I can't see the text, and this is why you've got to select a game first. Let's just choose A. I'm not sure if that's a normal error. I don't remember ever seeing that with the Uniboss, but it could be. So we'll load Metal Slug 3 again, just to get something loaded. Oh, the memory card, there we go, yeah, A. And select start, choose A and then Alt A, B, C, D. There we go. So I'll do display to stored data, memory card not format memory card. After plugging card and press A, memory card write protected. That's interesting. I wonder if that's the right, I don't know. It's not write protected though. That makes no sense. Memory card not formatted. Format memory card. Memory card write protected. I don't know. I mean, I could try unplugging it and plugging it back in and try that again. A. Yeah, seems to think it's write protected. So I don't know. That's a little bit strange, isn't it? Put it into A, and then it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's not working at all now. Something's gone wrong here. Hope it's not killed it. Right, it's working again. There's nothing really wrong here. I think that switch had a bad connection. Now, bear in mind, this has been in this little bag here, sat in here for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So switching it over, I think we had like an open circuit connection. So in terms of the addressing, it probably corrupted the first bank because it wasn't definitely switched to the second bank. You would have had some high impedance perhaps there. Just flipping it to and from 2 or 3 times and it started working. But it was given that same error you just saw in both positions. I had to format it. And after obviously doing the switching and then getting it back working again, I hadn't formatted at that point, but I listed the contents, nothing on either A or B. And I think that's because I tried to format B when one of the address lines was floating perhaps, you know, the one that's controlled by this switch. Because that's going to be the bank, isn't it? It's going to control which bank it is. So I'll try and do a save again with Metal Slug 3. So I'll switch it back on again. So yeah, everything's working fine now. I may just get a little bit of contact clearance for that switch because I'm sure that's all it was there. But it's really annoying that I broke the tip of that pin off. Because it does mean that you can't hot swap it. Because if you don't get that ground joining before anything else, so actually it's very quiet, I was just wondering why it was quiet. Yeah, if you don't get the ground joining before anything else, then you will get latch up. If we hit start here, you'll see, hopefully, data load, yes. Now we choose stage 2, it should start on stage 2. So yeah, this is after formatting it on both A and B sections, you know, A and B banks, and then obviously getting to level 2 and saving it. Now if I switch that off, in fact I didn't need to switch it off, it's really annoying when I keep forgetting that, because I'm using the 161 I've got to load a game again in order to be able to get the menu, otherwise you're not able to see the text when you hold A, B, C, D down on the unibars here. There is a combination you can hold down on a one with a mask ROM rather than unibars. But anyway, A, B, C, D, there we go. Display stored data, there you go. That's all I've got on there. Metal Slug 3. B button to return. Now, if I just switch the switch over while it's on, you can do that. All you're doing is flipping the address line on that RAM, and it's FRAM. I think it's not battery backed up. It's FRAM. And if we do display stored data, no data. So it's formatted, but I've not put anything on there. And again, if I just switch that back again very carefully and do display store data, there we go. So it is working. You can switch between the banks. The only way I'm going to be able to know that 100% is if we switch it back to B, which I'll do now. Do display data again, and I'll launch something else on the 161 and 1. Puzzle Bobble maybe. Do one round, save that, and then we should be able to flip back and then we should be able to see evidence of a save on each bank. So I completed round 1 there, so let's just end the game. And I'll put my name in just in case it saves that. Because I think it does save the high scores as well, it might not just be the save. Although, maybe not, maybe it is just saves. Because generally you see high scores are saved into BRAM if you've got a MVS. There is a Unibars version, I think, the latest on version 4. Let's choose yes. Hang on. Yes. Save OK. Yeah, Unibars 4, I think you can actually save your high scores to the memory card. That was a new thing. But obviously I've not got Unibars 4 in here. I do have a license for Unibars 4. I've just not used it yet. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we've got card loads, it's on there now. So anyway, if I reboot this, and we'll just have a look at the memory card manager. So display stored data, there we go, puzzle bubble round 2. Go back one, switch the A-B switch, we're on to B now. Display stored data, let's look through. Back again, and I'll put it back to puzzle bubble again. Yeah, so obviously that switch, you really want to make sure it's definitely clicked into the right position. If you've not used it for a while, get some contact cleaner on it or something and just switch it left, right, left, right, left, right a few times, and then just make sure it's definitively clicked in one direction. There we go. But that's not like a design fault or anything like that. That is literally the fact that this has been here for 4 years, sat in that bag. I've used it, as you saw, because there was a save on there when I did the MVS stuff, visiting the card slot things. But yeah, it's not been used since then. But yeah, Furrtek has done a really good job. So I've switched that off. Just carefully pull it out. Yeah, so it makes a nice snug fit. Yeah, so the only difference with mine, as I mentioned at the start, is that red tape there. It had a black piece of what's his name, heat shrink tubing around that. But you see, I took all this off to have a look to see what was there. And originally I did film it and was going to show you, but I don't see any point. I think all you've got is a hole in the board here, and then he's fitted the F-RAM in the centre of the PCB to get it nice and flat like that. Yeah, so yeah, it was this top right pin here that you know, that it's like extended. If you look into your slot there, that top right hand pin, in fact it's on the bottom row actually, it extends about 50% longer than any of the other pins, and it's the ground pin. It's just the tip that's broke off, so now the pin is the same length as all the pins. And as I say, the risk would be if it was on and I plug this in while it's on, I could kill it, yeah, but normally you won't have that issue. Normally you can actually take these in and out while it's on, but they're not the easiest things to get in, these cards, and this is not to do with Furrtek, it's to do with the slot in general. You know, you get it in like that, and you've got to kind of try and get a feel, is it actually, there you go, is it actually going in or not? And the first time, obviously, I must have had it just slightly misaligned with that previously bent pin, because this is the issue here. Can't remember whether I shared it or not, but when I did this repair, final thing was that little pin inside was bent, and I straightened it a bit, and the one next to it. The one next to it is a little bit crooked, but if I switch it on, yeah, red LED. When that was broke off before, when I plugged it in, I think you saw there was no LED, because it had no ground. Could have killed it at that point. Lucky I didn't. And just re-inspecting that pin, it's marginally longer than any of the others still, so it's not exactly the same size as the others. So yeah, I could still risk hot swapping it, but you know what, with anything like that, I'd do it while it's off. Even if the system allows it, I'd always do it while it's off. So whilst I'm in this version here, I've just been inspecting the slots here. They're good as new, these ones actually, but they're a lot looser than the later AES. Maybe because it's an early one, maybe because it's had a lot of use, I don't know. But while we're here, let's just get a little bit of deoxit on there and just wipe the contacts. It could probably do with another fold there, actually. I'm just going to twist just an angle a little bit, get a bit of friction because it's not thick enough. Get right into that corner there. Yeah, there's very little coming off. You can see it's a little bit dirty, that, but not too bad at all. And of course you could just put a cart in with some contact cleaner on it, but yeah, I'll certainly go in and out a few times like that, and then I'll just wipe the cart contacts with a Q-tip. Right, let's get it back together. So yeah, this early AES has this thing here. If memory serves, the silver coloured one was through there, I think. I honestly can't quite remember now. I'm just going to be very careful just to make sure I'm not screwing through the lid. No, it's going through the metal shield into a plastic thing there, so that's that. And then put the lid on, making sure you get your power switch in place here. You don't want to break that off. It's got fingerprints and dust all over it now. So I may revisit that slot if I can find a provider of a replacement one. I think one of the screw mounts was broke. No, it's not. I thought one of the screw mounts was broke there, but no, they're not. Yeah, if I can find a replacement card slot there, you know, it's like PCMCIA style, isn't it? This came at a time around that time, you know, it's the same connector. So yeah, if I can get one, I may revisit and swap it out. May revisit the repair I did at the same time. So let's get that on. So around here where all these hairs are with the sticky stuff is, I'm just going to get a cotton bud and some IPA, clean that. And then we'll get some fresh double-sided tape on these. They're kind of like a bit gooey, these. I don't know, it's a bit strange. Maybe they're not. I think the tape's just dried up. So those card sockets, I vaguely remember them being about 20 odd quid each. I think you could still buy a replacement from DigiKey or RS. Mind you, that was years back, I'm thinking now, like 2 or 3 years. So maybe there's no stock left. That could be a thing, because lots of things like that are end of life. I can't think of many modern uses for a device like that. I'm just trying to get the glue off the end there. Yeah, that'll do, because most of it is not visible anyway. It's going to be, you know, that way up. Yeah, fresh double-sided tape under there. That's nice and clean. Let's just get that into position and push it down. There we go. My nails need cutting again, I see. We'll reassemble. If you own an AES or you're thinking of getting one, it's not got a power light mod to it. I'll give you a tip. Whatever you do, do not plug the cartridge in when you're connecting everything up. So what I mean is, you've connected the video, you've connected the power, you think it's switched off, you've plugged in your controller, and then you plug in the car. On a modern TV, it won't display anything probably, and you will think it's off when it's not, and it'll be switched on, and you plug in a car straight in. Obviously, when you've got something like this here, you can tell you've got power. It's a nice little power indicator, that. And here is that Neo-GRC. Oh, there's a bit of bacteria there, look. Hang on a minute, let's zoom in a bit more. It's incredible, even with this microscope, I can't see very much at all. You can start to see now though, I mean, and that's the maximum zoom. We're at 3 times zoom there. I'm probably going to need to use something just to move this around with, otherwise I'm going to end up moving the... And any little knock on the table is going to move the microscope. You see it's bouncing already. I mean, yeah, this shows you the level of magnification you require, because with this, we're still nowhere near being able to see, you know, the contents of this here in the inside of it. And the little lines and rows and columns that come down here, you can't hardly see them. We're just nowhere near close enough. I might see if I can get a little bit closer. And obviously these points here are where the bond wires would go to the outside of the quad flat pack. Let me just try and zoom a bit nearer. Yeah, so that's about as near as I can get. I could probably go a bit nearer than that actually. But if we move it along there, now you can start to see the sensor part of that there. I wonder if those are some sort of memory unit or something. I don't know what those are. It's like a grid, isn't it? I don't know. I bet they are. I'm trying to think what a GRC is. I'll stick it top left, Neo-GRC. Was that the combined sound thing, or was that a graphics thing? I don't remember what the GRC was. My guess is those are RAM. And that one's got a fault, look. I can see some... Hang on, I can't get the thing onto the... Where's the probe? This is the probe thing here. Look how big that is. You can see a hair. I'll point with a hair. Some black stuff going on there. Has that failed? Or is that just some contamination from handling or decapping or whatever? It's incredible it's managed to get this out of a chip in this level of, you know, this quality. It's like we haven't really lost anything there, have we? You know, you'd imagine if acids and things were used to get into this, to etch away, you'd imagine some damage to the surface, but, well, seemingly not. Yeah, as soon as I just touch anything here, you can see it just vibrates like mad. Yeah, so there's another one of those large areas down here. This one's quite a big one, that blue one, whatever that is, some sort of... It's storage area, I want to say. I don't know. It's very strange, isn't it, the difference between the different sections on this chip. If we move the chip back further down here, you've got 4 of those blocks there. I mean, look at the complexity here of all the stuff that's going on around the edges. You can see very clearly some, individual sort of traces. Looks like there's a pair of them there. Pair. That one's a single one. Pair, all the way down here. That must have been an absolute nightmare to design it. How do you design something like that? I'll tell you what, there's some genius people out there. There really are. And what's amazing about this and scary, the technology here is from like the 90s, early 90s, I think. I think it maybe late 90s in this case. But these days, the scale, there is no scale, there's no comparison. You think of your Ryzen chip, it's probably got like 1 trillion transistors in it or something. It's like, they're insane. And the nanometer, the sizing of everything has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. You'd probably need like, I don't know, 100,000 magnification level to see anything or something like that. Anyway, massive thanks to Furrtek for sending that. I really like that. I might stick that in a frame or something, a small one, stick it on the wall or something, I don't know. It'd be nice if we could get a zoomed in shot like that and do a print of it, because I could stick that next to it maybe. There we go. Anyway, hopefully you found that interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.